Hello and welcome back to the DRS Development channel. It's been a while, almost a year. We've been quite busy. There is a full shop at the Fast Oldies DRS workplace. Mod rods, complete rebuilds of very special cars. And of course also progress on the Phoenix. What we did the last few months when we got back to it is we basically just kept the fan collar and the engine case from the crankshaft up until the valve covers, but all the rest, intake and exhaust, all the bits and pieces that go around it have been redeveloped, or we had a new idea about it. And in the next episode, or this episode, I'm going to show you what we did in the last few months. So intake-wise, that's where we're first going to start. I'm going to walk you through, I know this has been done on lots of channels, but I'm going to walk you through step by step. And I'm first going to start with the original 964 intake system. So the original barn door, as we call it, is a 964 original end manufacturer piece. It's an outdated valve, which an engine is an air pump basically. It pulls in an amount of air. This gives a little trigger as to how much fuel and etc. it has to go put into the engine with the air. Old system. Normal update that you can do, or the normal upgrade on a normal 964 engine, is what we call a MAF kit, redesigned airbox or not. It's a slightly smarter system which you use and update the Motronic with a different chip. For a normal engine, that's all quite fine. But for what we are going to do, last time we showed you the throttle bodies or drive-by-wire kits from different suppliers. We're going to upgrade it, but first I'm going to show you the first 3 stages of upgrading a 964 intake system. The first, as I just showed you, barn door, normal air filter, normal air box, all quite standard systems. That's the original part. Then the second part, stage 1, as I've just shown you on the original Phoenix intake, is a MAF kit. You have several kits available, but basically just changes the barn door design for a heat tread, which measures the airflow a little bit more accurately, and it also has less resistance, or the air can flow through it a little bit easier. For a normal build, a normal street car, your first upgrade is usually this. You upgrade the original ECU with a chip. So a stage 1 is usually what we do intake-wise on a 964 system. So the second stage is a drive-by-wire. What does this mean? We used the smaller drive-by-wire system from Islandworks, which was the original idea what we're going to use on the Phoenix engine. We changed that all, but on a normal 964 with the original intakes, you can add a slightly smaller drive-by-wire unit, and with the original parts that Porsche supplies with the engine, you can build, this is what we call a stealth engine, because this has the drive-by-wire system on it, but it looks quite original. It's all original Porsche parts, and the air filter with a little mock-up that we did with Adapt Motorsport. We got the original look, functioning air filter, so everything looks original, but you have a drive-by-wire. What are the biggest benefits? As this is a stage 2, you have a bigger air mouth that goes into the engine. Drive-by-wire capabilities, that's a lot smarter. The throttle body is also a little bit bigger, and you can also choose to upgrade the fuel rails, injectors, and all sorts of other small bits and pieces from the engine. What you also remove is a little bit of weight. What you also remove from the engine, all the clutter that you need to idle the engine is removed, because this is a smarter system, an electronic controlled valve that can regulate the position for you, how much throttle the engine gets. So all of the clutter, all of the vacuum lines, all of the systems required to make an engine run stationary is removed, and it's also much simpler. So a little bit of weight removal as well. Biggest benefit is the drive-by-wire and the circumference of air that you can move through the engine. And then lastly, a stage 3, which is basically same intake manifold or original manifold. I showed you, every one I showed you is an aluminum one. I like those because you can color them a little bit. They're a little bit heavier. The later model 964 have plastic plenums, which also don't have as much heat soak, but other than that, there's no physical difference other than the pickup points for some brackets, etc. This is what we generally here call a stage 3. It's the same, this is an Adapt Motorsport piece. It's the same idea, it's a drive-by-wire unit. You can, in a stage 2, we usually use an original air filter to make the engine look as stock as possible. On a stage 3, we put air filters on it. It's more customizable. So you don't follow the original pieces as much. And generally we try to take out a little bit of the feed as well, so you have a little bit more airflow. Generally in the stage 3 we use heavy camshafts to make the system run, and that's why we call it a stage 3, but the difference between a stage 2 and a stage 3 is mostly engine based and not as much hardware. So before we move on to the next stage or the next explanation, I'll show you some bits around the workshop. Marcel and our new intern Wesley are working hard. We'll show you a few shots of the 2 engines that they're working on. Of course, we also have the Clio, the DRS Clio, which has just finished a nice track day on the Zolder track. So the reason we've not been able to work on the Phoenix as much as we like is customer work always is the first priority. But I think we're doing a good job, and we'll show you some shots from around the shop. And in between, I would like to say a big thank you to the whole JFT team, Philip and his 2 sons, Jeff and Tommy. Last year we bought this the remainder Clio. They had 3, now they have none. And they told me, like, go drive it, upgrade it slowly. Me being me, I couldn't, so they've done a bunch of special modifications. We do a few shots, but quickly some custom O-lins. Which they did all of the CNC work on themselves, some carbon fiber ducts for the brake cooling, a carbon fiber bonnet, and lots of other small details and modifications. Big thank you, sorry for being a pain in the ass, but I really like the car. We've just came back from a track day at the Zolders track. It was good, and yeah, big thank you also to Gideon, the big man behind JFT, for giving us the opportunity to buy this car. Thank you very much, and we hope you enjoy that even on a Clio we do stupid things and like to modify everything. And lastly, last thank you, my mate Ron, without whom this also wouldn't have been possible. Dankjewel maatje, ik waardeer het. Then onward, stage 4, GT3 manifold, custom stands for the intake. Well, we've discussed this at length. We've used many of them, and I've showed you in previous episodes. So I think this is yeah, standard. Everybody can look back if they like. This is a stage 4, drive-by-wire, bigger intake volume, bigger throttle body. All of the benefits from a drive-by-wire, having an electronic pedal. So pretty straightforward. If you like it, look back at our previous episodes and we explain it in great detail. Then we arrive at where we left off previously, with the exception that we have a 3D printed manifold from Silver Lake. Carlos, thank you very much. This is a stage 5. It's the throttle bodies from AT Throttle. You have butterfly valves. These parts are printed. The last time we showed you they were CNC'd, but drive-by-wire benefits. Independent throttle body, so 6 valves per engine. All of the benefits, resonance chamber, yeah, one of the best bits that you can get, but we found a better solution, which we're going to show you now. So as mentioned previously, we kept two things the same, which is the base engine from crankshaft up until valve covers. Even the valve covers changed, by the way, but small detail. And the orange fan, because this is still the Phoenix. Exhaust-wise, we changed a lot. We came across some interesting people, but first I'm going to show you a stage 6 intake manifold. This is the Phoenix engine as it is now. What we changed everything: fan housing, valve covers, exhaust, which we will go into great detail later. We changed the drive-by-wire option, but let's start from the top. We got some very nice CNC parts. We previously used the 3D printed part, but I'm not a huge fan of it, so Adapt Motorsport made this excellent CNC part. Then Carlos from Silver Lake got us an amazing carbon fiber plenum, which these are like excellent. It's one of my favorite parts about this whole engine. And we also got a message from a Danish person, Sune, and he said, your throttle bodies are quite alright, but we make better ones. So JSR has supplied us with one of the coolest and nicest looking throttle bodies with a drive-by-wire mechanism that we've ever seen, and I'm going to show you what makes these different from our last solution. So to show you the difference between normal throttle bodies or independent throttle bodies, normally you have a valve which tumbles, and then when it's completely open you just have the side of it, so it moves. You have very little resistance. What's nice about these are ellipsis barrels. They're an old Formula 1 system, and these open completely. So it's a barrel system or an ellipse system. Once they are open, they have no resistance at all. And according to the computer models, it's about 20% more effective than when you have normal conventional throttle bodies. The principle of the drive-by-wire system, which these throttle bodies use, is also very similar to the ones we previously showed you. Two uniballs, left and right threads to put them in perfectly. Then a small drive-by-wire unit, slightly higher than the one from AT Throttles, but same principle. Valves to get the air pressure right and to synchronize the throttle bodies. Similar vacuum system. You need to connect all of them to get the pressures right and to have a vacuum boost on a C2 for the brakes, etc. All similar, a little bit nicer than the previous system we showed you. So previously we were going to use this manifold system. As we found out in the last year, an exhaust is more than just changing it to double headers or one header to each side. We found a really interesting guy very close to us, 20 kilometers, who's done nothing his whole life but make excellent exhausts. I'm going to show you the first draft of this exhaust. This is not the one we're going to use. We're going to explain what's different between the exhaust that we have now and the exhaust that we were previously going to use. And one important thing is, as you can see on this one, it moves quite bendy to one side. It is equal length, but not perfectly. On this exhaust, you can see there's a lot more exhaust tube, so more length. And very important for these cars, as we found out in the last year and didn't previously know, the more time the collector has to merge the different pulses of the exhaust. And again, I'm just talking what I heard and I don't really understand it yet, but in one of the next episodes, Chap from Celery Tech is going to explain everything in great detail. But very important, an X merge collector pipe, X pipe, and the length from the manifold. which is different. Again, it's going to be explained later, but this is how a proper racing exhaust or a proper exhaust has to look. So lots of changes, lots of knowledge that we gained in the last year, lots of changes in parts, but also in knowledge of the parts, of what we want to achieve. We hope you're still with us. We hope you enjoyed watching all of the changes, all of the explanation that we gave you. The next episode will be a little bit sooner, and we're getting to the point where the engine will run and where we can tell you if we made our goals or not. For now, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and follow us on the Instagram. Thank you very much.